What is up, boys? Welcome to the Spoilercast of Spider-Man 2. And this is a sort of special video. We don't really do these too often. I think the last time we did a Spoilercast for a video game was 3 years ago when The Last of Us Part 2 came out. So that's exciting. Not that we don't do game reviews. We have. Normally it's just inserted into our podcast, but we figured this is a special occasion. The stars aligned. They aligned, and here we are to talk.
Hold on. Why did the stars align? What makes them align?
They aligned because we both just beat the game really fast.
Oh, okay. We're on top.
Honestly, that's the reason. We normally just don't beat games this fast, and we happen to beat the game really fast. And
yeah, that is true.
It's hard to make a spoiler cast for a game that's like still relevant when you beat the game like 2 months later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And we don't have the luxury of getting game codes early like IGN.
Yeah, we're not.
They should really disclose that more clearly. Like, hey, we got this game for fucking free from Sony, and we have a relationship with Sony. Don't you think?
Yeah. And they usually send us games for free from Sony.
Like, we have no concept of how much a game costs.
Yeah, I guess so.
I always hear that in like when you watch like a gaming podcast where they're like, oh, dude, everyone should just buy this game. And they say that about every single game. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because you get the game for free. If I just got the game for free, I would,
100%. 100% agree.
Anyway,
I would.
What a tangent. Let's talk about Spider-Man 2. Nick, right at the jump here, I think let's just get into like our sort of initial thoughts, our overview of Spider-Man 2.
So I know we don't rank games. That's just not the kind of channel we are.
Definitely not.
But if you had to give it a ranking, let's say, one of, I'm just going to throw an arbitrary number that doesn't matter out, one of 10, 1 through 10.
Yeah, maybe 1 through 10. Yeah.
Maybe 1 through 10. What do you think you would give it?
1 through 10. Well, let's, I think I'd give it a 5 out of 6.
Oh, okay.
No, I think I'd give it a 9, honestly.
Me too.
I really like the game. There definitely are some things that could be better, but that being said, I can't necessarily fully think of a better like Spider-Man game than Spider-Man 2. The only one maybe is Spider-Man 1, but I think that this game is superior to Spider-Man 1 in a lot of ways. Like in a ton of ways. I think if we were to go back to Spider-Man 1 now, after playing this game, we would have a hard time playing it.
It's agreed. I think you're wrong about that.
Well, my main reasoning for why I think it would be hard to go back, for one, I think just the fluidity of the swinging and the wingsuits and how fast you swing. Going back to Spider-Man 1 and how it felt fast at the time, but if you were to compare them side by side, it's so much slower. And I think it would be hard to transition back into that.
Yeah, I liked the slower ones. To be honest, I liked when I heard that they were including a wingsuit, I was kind of bummed because I didn't want to go that fast. I liked taking my time swinging through the city. And I don't know if that's weird or not, but that's just me.
I kind of get that. You want that like Spider-Man 1 and 2 vibe where, Danny Elfman's theme is busting through and he's like sort of slowly swinging through the city and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I just there's not like, especially with the two characters, the Miles and Peter, I feel like both of them shouldn't have it.
Just one of them.
Just one of them, just because.
But then you would always play as the one with the wingsuit.
It's hard to say.
I really enjoyed the wingsuit. I like the the like slipstreams and stuff, and man, you just
man,
go
okay.
so fucking fast in the game, and I really really like that. I love just zipping from one side of the city to the other like so quickly. I think it's incredibly fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I really thought it was fun, but I just it thematically didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like I said, like why would both of them have the wingsuit?
Why would one of them hold it away from the other one? You know what I mean? He's like, I got a wingsuit. Fuck you. I'm not gonna help you build a wingsuit, dick.
I just feel like it'd be more about like this is the wingsuit's your thing. I've got my electric powers. You've got the wingsuit.
I don't know. I feel like traversal for both of them has been the same. It's more their fighting styles that are different. I don't know. I really like the wingsuit. I like how fast it is. I like how fluent it is. I like how you can just, especially when you unlock all of the like upgrades and stuff, just like using the like super power jump and then like the boost into the wingsuit, into a dive, into like a full circle swing, and then boosting out of that into a wingsuit and then dropping down and then swinging. Like it's just so fucking awesome. Where the first one is you're just swinging, which is awesome and really fun. I just think there's so much more variety that makes it a lot more fun in this one. And it's so much faster. And, they said that the reason it wasn't so fast in the first one was because they were held back by the hard drive. It just couldn't load fast enough. So, I mean, I remember when Spider-Man came to the PC, and one of the first mods was just speed up swinging. And people were like in love with that shit. Like just super fast swinging around. And then, a couple years later, we get it in the game, like just so fast. So fast that when I first started playing, I was like, holy shit, this is too fast. And then by the end of the game, I'm like, oh, this is it. This is
fine.
This is all I want. And then I see gameplay of the old one. I'm like, damn, look at this grandpa moving. Just like barely scooting around.
I don't know. I used the point launch a lot. So like, where you grab a point and then launch yourself. Like I was bunny hopping across buildings rather than swinging a lot of the times, I felt. And this game, for some reason, I felt like I couldn't reach as far as I could in the first one.
I did kind of feel that too, actually.
Really? Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I'm like, it's not a big deal, but like, I feel like I should be getting that point. Like, I feel like I should be able to just grab onto that, but it's not letting me.
Yeah, I definitely felt that a little bit too. I'm not sure why that is, or if it's true that the like reach is less in this one or not. Maybe it is because they want to discourage you from using it more. And they're like, please use the wingsuit. We designed this shit, please.
Yeah. So and that's what it did. It kind of forced me to play more on the wingsuit side, because I'll be honest, I was a little defiant when it's first introduced, and I'm like, I don't want to. I like the swinging, I like the penduluming, and then as the story progressed, and there was that that side quest where you're finding the chameleon, and you have to like follow these drones, and you're flying through
the
checkpoints and whatnot. It's like that was really fun. I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the game, I was like, I really don't want to use this wingsuit.
Yeah.
And that was just a personal choice. I understand that it's fucking cool, man. And
I don't have an issue with it as far as even like Spider-Man wouldn't have a wingsuit. Like I feel like he would. I feel like he has in the past. I mean, fuck, he had a car that would drive up walls at one point.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that.
You want to drive a car?
Yeah, I want a car in the game. They gave us bikes in this one, but I want a car.
Yeah. The bikes were weird.
It felt like San Andreas bikes.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And on that note as well, MJ's motorcycle felt weird too.
Oh, yeah.
She would just fucking full send it and jump off of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who is this? And like, you wouldn't even think about it.
She's
It was
badass.
just goodbye.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's comic books though, eh? Like
I guess.
even the non-superheroes are doing superhero shit.
I suppose.
When you see fucking Daredevil get blown through a wall and you're like, that would kill him, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's comic books.
It is comic books.
Another thing that I think like why I prefer this one over the first one is when the remaster came out for PS5 of the first one, I booted it up because it came with all of the DLC and I wanted to play through all the DLC, which I did. And I enjoyed the DLC a lot. And at the same time, I started kind of playing through the story again, like the original story. And as I was doing it, I just felt this level of like tedium kind of like overcome me while I was playing it. Yeah, just like all of the like stupid, I don't know. There's just so many side missions in that game that I just didn't enjoy too much, and they felt like they didn't have a lot of substance.
The only one that I can think of that is the what is she called? Screwball. The Screwball missions. Those were awful.
Yeah. Well,
but
go ahead. Sorry.
Those are the only ones I could think of, though.
I guess the other thing is I felt like there was just so much more of them in the first one, where like even ones that I'm like, this is kind of fun. I just felt like there were so fucking many of them, where I feel like they kind of pared it down in this one, where it's like there's like kind of like 5 or 6 of each of them. The only one that there were kind of a lot of were the spider bots, and I thought finding the spider bots were a lot more fun than finding the backpacks, because some of them were like hung up in the air.
I agree with that.
And like some of them were hard to get. In fact, I wish more of them were kind of like figure out how to get way the fuck up there to get that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the spider bots a lot more than the backpacks. And I may be wrong about this. I still feel like there were less spider bots than backpacks.
I think you're right. And I think you are right on that.
I feel like that was fully intentional, because I feel like they heard the criticism of all of us being like, there's too many fucking backpacks. There's too many of the same side missions. So they're like, okay, we'll just give you like 5 or 6 of each of them, or like 10 of them, instead of, 20 of each of these things. And I feel like, to me, that was a good decision, as well as the end of each side quest to me, like had like, for most of them, had like really cool endings. Like one that comes to mind like immediately is the end of the Mysterio side mission, where you have that like epic battle with Mysterio in there.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything like that in the first game.
No, this game definitely had way more set pieces. Excuse me. Wow. Way more set pieces than the first one, for sure.
Yeah. And I really like the set pieces. I think they're really fucking cool. They add to the world. Yeah.
But I also get the feeling that they may have overdid it with the set pieces as well. Because, they set up a third game at the end of this, at the end credits. And I'm fucking stoked. Yeah. But like, I feel like we've been to everywhere in New York at this point. It's like you can't do Staten Island again.
Right.
Because that would just eliminate the charm of it.
I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like that's what we were saying after the first one, though, too, right? Where we're like, how do they do it? How do they expand upon it? And honestly, I feel like it's not even about making the map bigger. It's about adding more to the map, adding more detail to the map. Maybe make it a little bigger. Because I mean, it's not like a 1-to-1 creation of New York, so there's plenty that they can expand upon and make it larger.
Right.
I mean, they could just make the mainland bigger. You know what I mean? So that's one thing, and make it more dense, make it more, make more side activities,
Not like
more of the same side activity, but like more of them.
More different. different ones.
And I think also probably, this is my guess. All right. This is my prediction. So at the end of the game, we get introduced to Cindy Moon.
Oh, who's that? What the hell?
Whoa!
Spoilers! Whoa!
I have a feeling
we don't get introduced. She gets her name comes up.
Right. Yeah. And I have a feeling we're gonna get her as a playable character in the next game.
Oh, 100%.
So we might get three spiders.
I don't think so. I think they're getting rid of Peter Parker for a minute.
I think so too. In fact, I would not be surprised. So I'm thinking one of two things is going to happen. Pete's going to move out of New York and go somewhere else and do something, and he won't be there. Or he's going to die.
Those are the only two options?
Yeah, I really do think that's the only two options, because if Spider-Man is there, like if Peter is there while all this crazy shit is going on, the entire time we're going to be thinking, well, maybe Pete could,
would jump in on this. Yeah.
Maybe, like I know he's retired or whatever, but maybe he could, pop in for some of this.
Help out a little bit.
Yeah. And I feel like that's an interesting story that could be told, where it's like it flips Miles on his head, where now Miles is the teacher,
Right. Yeah.
So that's interesting. And I also think the way Silk is, the way she uses her powers, they like shoots out of her fingertips and stuff. I think her gameplay is going to be like so different.
It should be different. Yeah. Right. I was thinking that too. I'm like, oh, how are they going to animate this? This is going to be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
The swinging is going to be completely different, hopefully. But I think this next one is going to be Peter is retiring, and they have to come to him a couple of times to be like, hey, Pete, help us out, because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense if Peter was like, 60. But Peter's still only like 25 in this game, like it's not like he's like that fucking old.
Yeah.
So I feel like the only way to explain it is to have him sort of like he did in Miles Morales, where he's just like not there. Yeah. And in fact, I think the third one could even do what you were kind of saying, where it's like in this one, you can play as two different Spider-Men, but they both kind of play the same in a lot of ways. I feel like the third one could do a thing where it's like Cindy Moon plays way differently than Miles, and vice versa.
It would be cool.
Oh, we could even get a third one, a third Spider-Man in there, if they want to keep Pete in there. I don't know. One thing I was wondering too, since we're just talking about sequels anyway, was, so we got the Flame side missions, which I really loved. I thought they were really cool.
That's one of the ones that I'm like, that was it. Like,
yeah, it was kind of short.
It was really fun, but it was like 3 missions, and it seemed really substantial to the story.
It did.
It was like, oh, and this is just not like they didn't come back to it.
I think the fact that it's shorter is good. Well, for one, there was like a ton of production value in each one of those missions. They felt like full on like story missions. With just the production value, and they had their own like designated levels, you know what I mean? Sort of like the missions. Yeah. So there was a lot of production value put into those, and the fact that it's shorter means like you're more likely to have played that side mission in its entirety when the next thing comes out.
But I don't know. I don't think you should limit your game to, but what if people didn't play that side mission?
That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, if you want like that level of quality, sometimes the quantity, especially if you want to get the game out before the next century, maybe you have to bring it back a little bit. And that's what I felt in this game, where it's like, we want to be able to release this game at some point, but we also want a high level of quality. So that just means like some of the quantity is going to be hit a little bit. Which I know there's a whole debate online about, is this game worth the money? Is it worth the price? But I'm getting distracted. We could come back to that in a second. I wanted to talk about the flame thing because, you know, at the end of it, we get introduced to Cletus Cassidy.
Yes.
And the Carnage symbiote gets introduced.
Which is really cool if it came up at all again in this game.
Yeah, it was sort of definitely like a dead end sort of thing. And they justify it by her saying like, hey, this is going to take me years to figure out or whatever. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, but you think Cletus Cassidy with the symbiote would be like, it's time to fucking go. You know, like immediately. And then he would become Carnage. And then, you know, with Venom doing his shit, he'd be like, oh, now's my fucking chance. You know, I don't know. I feel like it.
Well, since it's a side mission, though, there's no way to time. There's no way to time that out right. You know.
Well, there is. Well, I guess not. The only way you could time it out is if you forced someone to do it.
Yeah.
And then open. Yeah, before. Yeah. You figure out what the best placement for it would be in the story, and then you kind of force people to play it.
It wouldn't make a lot of sense at the end of the game, like after you beat the game and then you do those side missions, and then he's like, oh, I'm doing this because Venom, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like you just saw Venom get beat. Maybe you should plan this out a little bit. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. And he also doesn't know exactly how the symbiote works.
Right.
We never saw him fuse with the symbiote. He just has it. So, like, we don't know what's going on with him and the symbiote. And that's what I was going to ask, too. Do you think this is something that they're going to do in Spider-Man 3? Or do you think this is something they're going to solve with DLC?
I'm really hoping for DLC for this game.
Yeah. Me too. I really would love some DLC for this game.
Yeah. And I think that would be a pretty good enemy in the DLC. Although the DLC in the first game was pretty lackluster. It was very short. Everything was very short.
I agree with that. I don't think it was lackluster. I thought some of it was really good.
Yeah. But it was, I just felt like it was, if they do it like that, I think I'd be a little disappointed. But if they do it better and extend out the DLC longer, I think I'd like that a little bit more, because Miles Morales is like its own game. But it also kind of felt like an extra long DLC, and I liked the way that was.
Well, and that's what I was going to suggest, you know, because Spider-Man 1 had like 3 DLCs.
3, yeah.
That were all each kind of short. But like, what if they didn't do 3 DLCs and they just did 1 Carnage DLC, where it's you know, where they combined the length of all 3 of those DLCs to have like a substantial Carnage DLC.
That would be really cool.
I think that's the move.
That would be perfect, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I think the Carnage DLC makes sense, especially for the game with Venom in it. To save it for the next game doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No.
Especially if what happens, like we were saying, like Peter isn't even going to be in the next one. Just wouldn't make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I'm really fucking hoping for some DLC, because I want to dive back into the game. Like, I agree. Like, I wish there was more in this game, but I'm also saying I understand why there isn't. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because I think also Insomniac's a team that wants to do a lot of things at a high quality. Like they want to move their team over to keep working on Wolverine, which I think Wolverine will also be a shorter game. And
yeah, probably.
And then I think they immediately want to get into Spider-Man 3. They've got Ratchet and Clank. Who knows about what's that jumpy Xbox game they have?
Jumpy Xbox game, Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe a Sunset Overdrive.
That would be cool.
Sunset Overdrive 2 would be cool. So like Insomniac, I don't know how they push out as many games as they do, but also I'm glad that they're a studio that exists that aren't like, oh, we're gonna make our game 70 hours for no fucking reason at all.
For no reason, yeah.
There's so many
Yep.
games that I play, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it at first, and then by the end
Mm-hmm.
of it, I'm like, this is a chore. I just want this to be over.
I agree.
And that I had the opposite experience with this game, where I'm like, man, I wish there was more, and I would
Mm-hmm.
rather have that feeling than the opposite feeling, personally.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But when you want more, you're kind of unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie, fucking fantastic movie, right? And then by the end of the movie, credits roll, and I'm like, what? Really? Well, this sucks. It was just kind of.
How do you not
It
feel
was a.
satisfied by that? That's a long ass movie. There's a
I
lot of
didn't.
Spider-Man there.
I didn't feel like it was that long, and I could have sat in
That's a
the
good
theater
thing.
for an extra 2.5 hours.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, but that I still got that feeling of like not completely satisfied, not completely satiated, and
Yeah.
that's disappointing to me.
I don't know. I feel like, oh man, that was great. I can't wait for their next thing. Like that's how I feel about it, and that's how I felt about
Mm-hmm.
Across the Spider-Verse too, where I was like, that was fantastic. I wish it was longer, but I'm glad
Right.
it wasn't, because they just did what they wanted to do, and they didn't force out like, they're like, yeah, exactly. Like I feel that all the time with so many
Mm-hmm.
games and movies, where it's like, dude, fucking Thor Love and Thunder doesn't need to be 2 hours long, like that could be an hour and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I felt it with Ragnarok, where I'm playing this game where I'm like, this is so long. Why?
Yeah.
I felt it with The Last of Us Part 2. I'm like, this is so fucking
Yeah.
long. Why?
That is true. Yeah, those are good examples of that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there are even better examples like fucking Starfield, where it's like, why is there so much stuff?
yeah.
Like, you procedurally generated all these maps, which maybe adds to the immersion, but like it takes away from the actual gameplay elements of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where like this game was like, it's shorter, and the map isn't as big as fucking Starfield, but everything on the map and everything you do in this game
There's a
is
reason for it.
hand built with care and love.
Mm-hmm.
And not to take away from like The Last of Us, because I do feel like that's still true there, I guess, but it's just, there's so many games where it's like, this needs to be 80 hours long because everyone needs to have a fucking $1 an hour
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like everyone has this rule
Yeah.
where it's $1 an hour, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't agree with that sentiment. So
Yeah. I don't either. It's one of those things that's like, if you look back in it and you're like, that was worth the money, just not even time. I wouldn't even consider time, but like if you got something out of it and you're like, man, I had a good time, and you finished it, I think that's perfectly fine. If it goes on too long, did you really like it?
yeah.
Did you couldn't even beat it? Like you didn't want to beat that? Like, okay.
Yeah, at
It
this
was
point in
just.
my life, my time is more valuable than my money.
I agree.
That's just how I feel. And if
I
you're going to
agree.
give me a game, like it better be worth my time, and I felt like Spider-Man 2 was definitely worth my time.
I agree.
So
Wholeheartedly agree.
this conversation has been just a conversation of tangents, so let's try to
Continue to tangent, baby.
yeah, let's talk about the story. I guess we haven't really talked about the story. How'd you feel about the story?
I thought it was not as good as the first one as far as pacing and characters. I didn't cry at the end like I did on the first one.
Hey, you don't always need to cry.
However, I really liked Miles's everything. The Miles's story and just setting and all of the things that he goes through, I really liked that. I thought Craven was actually a pretty weak enemy as far as the way that they ended it. Felt very I don't want to say anticlimactic because it was climactic, but it was. I just didn't feel like he was taking over New York. If like as far as Craven, I always feel like he is his own guy, and I don't know who these hunters are or why they give a shit, and like he never fights you. He like shoots you and then he runs away. And I just don't understand why it had to be Craven. It could have been a bunch of other people, I guess. But it was just so interesting, so strange, because like in the Miles Morales DLC, you got Roxxon, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's a big corporation, lots of people stand behind it. With this, it's just like there's one guy and he likes to hunt, and so does everybody else. And I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy the whole Craven thing. Whereas in the first one, like Martin Lee literally transforms people into zombies, essentially, and you have to fight them, and that makes sense to me.
My take on it, I mean, I love the story of the first one. I think the first one is great. But I really liked the story. To me, the reason for Craven was, well, so I get what you're saying, like Craven should work alone or whatever, but I also felt like they did a good job of being like, no, this guy's just like incredibly wealthy and just has like a whole like,
yeah, but
like I was almost under the impression this dude like runs an entire country. Like this guy has his own fucking people, and he's part of this like group that likes to hunt things. And he looked at New York and he's like, fuck, I want to hunt these guys. Right. And then when he's finally hunting Venom,
right,
this is the greatest hunter in the world. This guy can't lose. He's never lost. Right. And then Venom just bites his head off. And to me, it was like, oh, that really shows the threat of Venom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 100%. But I didn't feel like Craven had it wasn't the wow factor that I would have looked for, because there wasn't enough substance behind Craven. I felt like he's got cancer. Okay, he killed all of the B tier bad guys, or not even B tier. He killed a lot of bad guys.
Yeah, some of them
just
A-tier.
because
Lizard's pretty A tier.
Yeah, I'm Vulture and Shocker, and
I guess he didn't kill Lizard. Lizard's still out there. He's still doing.
Lizard's still out there. Yeah, but especially with that, like I feel like as far as hunting, you wouldn't want to have 100,000 people hunting the same thing you're hunting.
Yeah.
Because then that doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
It's like, you turned Lizard into a lizard, and then you send all of your guys to go hunt him so that you can kill him? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you do all the fucking work because you're a hunter, right? And I just didn't understand why he needed people. If he's this great hunter who does all his research and like fact checks everything, I could understand if he had a couple of people, like helping him out. But I just don't understand why it had to be a military sort of thing, other than the fact that the gameplay is.
Yeah, you need bad guys to.
You need bad guys in order to do it. So
I get what you're saying.
The symbiote takeover makes sense to me in that sense. The Martin Lee thing makes sense. Just general bad guy hideouts makes sense to me. But I don't understand why it has to be, hunters. And that threw me off a lot. And like Craven didn't seem to be as powerful as the game wanted him to seem, just because of the amount of people that were there. Like it was like, if you're such a good hunter, why do you need all this tech? Why do you need all these people? Why do you need money? Like,
Hunters
it doesn't.
Hunters use tech. Hunters are scum a lot of times, especially
A lot of time, yeah, but
like especially when you compare them to like big game hunters, who
right.
it's more about just like adding these things to your collection than actually doing the hunt, right? And they're
But
all using tools. Like
he didn't have a collection.
yeah,
He wasn't collecting anything other than like intel on his prey. Whereas you get
I don't know,
into Chameleon,
you walk
and
in
literally
there.
Chameleon has a whole bunch of stuff like
That's true.
saved from people, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
I mean, he had the
Chameleon is
wings
more
though.
of a trophy hunter.
He had like the
than
vulture wings and like
after he killed him, like
yeah, that's how that works.
well, I mean, Vulture I think was stuck to his wings in the game.
Right.
But he also had like the antidote for Scorpion, which he didn't save Scorpion's tail. He threw it away. Like he didn't save anything from Scorpion. He didn't save anything from Shocker. Like
That we know of.
That we know of, I guess. But I feel like they
He doesn't live in New York.
That off. Oh, so he just shipped off Shocker's gloves or something like that?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
I don't know. It's as far as big bad guys go, I've felt like he was not a big bad guy. And
yeah. I don't know.
The fact that like Venom bit his head off was like, oh yeah, cool. And like it was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, to me though, like Craven is just like a guy who's obsessed with power. Like he just wanted to have power over everyone. He wanted to run all of these, he ran all of that stuff. He was a rich guy. He had these fucking fighting rings just to have them duke it out just because he's...
Yeah, and that didn't make sense to me either.
I don't know. I just feel like he's just like a sick weirdo.
Yeah. I just if you're a hunter, you're gonna hunt, and you hunt to kill, or you hunt to you hunt to kill or catch and release, I guess. But there was none of that. It was just, I'm gonna capture you and then I'm gonna make you fight. His character didn't make sense to me. Just and any of it really. His whole motivation. I understand that like, oh, he wants to die, but nothing's going to kill him except an equal. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I don't know what his motivation for going to New York is. I don't know why he brought so many people.
I feel like
if he was hunting somebody.
What you just said was it though. Like he's like, if I can catch them, then they're not worthy of my time. I want them to fucking kill me, and Venom did.
Yeah, but I feel like you wouldn't. Again, I feel like you wouldn't want 100,000 people to follow you from the jungle of Africa into New York City for you to find somebody stronger than you. Like, you're not hunting at that point. You're just setting up a fighting ring, like a coliseum.
Yeah,
and it's just like I don't buy it. I just can't buy it.
I don't know. I just think he sees his goons as like another tool in his toolbox. Like, a hunter has different weapons, and one of his weapons is
it's just people
having a bunch of goons.
Payroll.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I guess.
I get what you're saying. I don't even fully disagree. I feel like Craven could have been more fleshed out. Like there's some side stuff that sort of like goes into his like family and stuff. But like, yeah, he could have been more fleshed out. But I feel like they were more focused on
Harry.
They were more focused on Harry and the stuff with Mr. Negative.
Which was fantastic. The stuff with Mr. Negative was my favorite.
And Craven was more of just like a catalyst to get that story moving. Which, you could argue is, lazy. But
No, I think it's part of that story, right? Because you use the way that a really generic storytelling ploy, I guess, is to set up a bad guy. Well, we see it with Star Wars. Set up a bad guy who you think is all bad and powerful, and then newsflash, it's not even the worst. Like, there's so much more, and because you killed that bad guy, there's now this other bad guy.
Yeah.
Who's, you fucked up sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should have just kept him alive. But
yeah,
and I think that's just one of those things that is what it is.
Yeah. I get what you're saying though. Yeah, it makes sense. Personally, I liked the story. I like, yeah, definitely the first one had these more like emotional, like Aunt May dying and stuff, like these pretty heavy beats. Miles' dad dying, all that stuff. But what I do like though is when a story is like, hey, we're gonna, like you go into a story and you're like, oh, they're gonna kill this person, and it's almost like an easy manipulative way to just get that response. And it's just like, we kill this person, boom, tears, you got it. And in this game, they're like, we're just not going to kill anyone and still tell a compelling story. And I appreciate that. I don't want to say more, but it's just like, I appreciate it when a story is able to tell a compelling and heart-wrenching story without actually killing anybody. That was something I thought about when I watched Guardians 3 as well. Like the whole movie, you're like, oh, someone's going to die, and then no one dies. And you're like, wow, they were still able to tell this like really great story without killing anybody. And I feel like this game did that too. They didn't even kill Harry. Like, like that's crazy.
No, but it makes me very nervous for what the future of Harry is.
Yeah, true.
Because it's like, he says the gene G or something like that. What is it? The G serum. And it's like, oh, it's goblin serum, obviously.
Right.
But it's like, but Harry was just is Harry really going to be two different?
I don't think it's going to be
guys?
Harry. I don't think it's going to be Harry. I think it's going to be Norman.
And see, that would be cool. I feel like that needs to happen more so than Harry being another different bad guy.
And in fact, something I really like about these Insomniac games is I think it's really easy when you have this back catalog of 100 years of comic books and stories and movies and television to kind of fall back on and look at it and be like, oh, we're going to do this story again. And something I've appreciated in both of these games, well, all three of the games, is we're going to take that sort of outline that was established in the comics and the movies and the TV shows, but we're going to really fully do our own thing with it. Like we're not really they're not really retelling like the Venom story. They told their own Venom story. And I feel like that's something they could do in the third one, where it's like, typically what we see is Harry gets mad that Peter kills his dad, not realizing he's the goblin. Then he becomes a goblin himself or whatever.
Right.
Or any other sort of thing. But what would be interesting is like, what if Harry is actually like, oh shit, my dad's fucked up, I'm going to work with you. And then actually just succumbs to his disease naturally. And it's like, oh, that's not what I expected. Not, they could do whatever they want.
That's going to happen, but yeah.
But that's something I appreciate with these games is that like, even though I've consumed a lot of Spider-Man content and
you don't know where it's going.
I've seen a lot of movies, is like, I didn't know what was going to happen in this game. I mean, it was pretty clear that Harry was going to be Venom or whatever, but I still didn't fully know what was going to happen throughout this game. I didn't know if they were going to kill Harry. I didn't know if Peter was going to die, because Miles is there. Like I didn't know. So I really, really appreciate that about Insomniac, that they're like, we're going to do our own thing. But still you have respect for, the foundation of what this is, but still tell our own stories.
Right.
So
I agree.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't think Harry's gonna be like the Hobgoblin or whatever. I think we're gonna see Norman be the Green Goblin.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah,
That's what I would want as a Spider-Man fan.
yeah,
Um,
and it would make sense. I mean, like at the end, they basically say like, this is the final chapter. Like this is gonna be the last Spider-Man game. That was the impression I got. Is that
really?
the third? I mean, that's kind of the impression I got, right? Because the note that he shows is like, this is the final chapter, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
they're like
I guess.
ending it with a trilogy, and I dig that. Um, but and it makes sense. Like first one is like Doc Ock, second
Mhm.
one Venom, third one Green Goblin. Like those are your big three right there
Yeah, yeah,
for Spider-Man.
that's true.
So
And you did kill off a lot of villains.
yeah, they're all dead.
Whether they're dead or good guys now.
Hmm.
Um, Wild.
Yeah. Or maybe that's what they could do. They could sort of introduce Cindy Moon in the next one, and then she can get her own series. I don't know. Um, but
Yeah.
do you think we'll see like a half, like sort of like we did with Miles Morales, like a sort of
Mhm.
interstitial game?
I hope so, but they didn't set it up for Cindy the same way they set it up for Miles, so I don't think we'll get a Cindy Moon game.
Could be like a Venom game.
A Venom game.
I don't know how that would work.
How would it be? I could see maybe a Carnage game.
Yeah. Ooh,
That would be kind of interesting.
that would be interesting. Oh my God.
'Cause
Now you're tickling my ball sack.
I'm tickling your little ball sack right
Yeah.
there, huh?
That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Because it was cool to play as Venom, but I'm like, this is not fleshed out enough.
No, yeah, it was very. I enjoyed the finishers, but
Yeah.
there weren't enough of them.
Yeah, but
And
it
it's
was
like,
just
okay,
like
well,
one section of the game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it was fine, and it got me going for a little bit. I'm like, oh, this is badass, and then it ran its course, and I felt good about it. After I was done, and I was like, I don't need to do that again, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's how I felt too. I'm like, I could see them fleshing this out though and making it cool, but yeah, definitely it's not there yet. That's kind of how I felt about MJ too. I'm like, I'm glad there were only 4 of these, and I thought they were really
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, they could definitely expand upon that and make it really, really cool. I think if they wanted to do some MJ DLC side missions as well.
yeah,
I think that'd be really fun.
I think that would be cool if they did.
Just like a Resident Evil, like.
But it couldn't. I couldn't see an entire game like that.
No, I think that would be like one of the DLCs that they drop. It's just like an MJ DLC.
I don't know how good that would do.
I don't know what she would be doing, but
I don't know what she'd be doing either.
it'd have to be like the last one that they drop. Like
I could see it being like what would you call it? Like a supplemental thing to a DLC. You know, like this isn't
yeah,
it's not the full DLC. It's just
a couple more missions.
Yeah, it's a couple more missions. It's 3 or 4 more missions.
Yeah, they could work too. I just want a full fucking game, just a full Insomniac Resident Evil game. That's just what I want.
Yeah,
I just want Insomniac to make everything.
It's kind of funny how well they did third-person shooters, though.
I mean, they have lots of experience with that.
Yeah, but like it felt good in a. I don't know if it's the same engine, but it felt good.
I mean, it's the same Ratchet and Clank engine. So,
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I guess it is.
Right, because, we even saw the rift mechanic make its way over to this game, which was really cool. A little cameo to Wong and Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Black Cat thing was weird too.
It's always been weird.
Like
that's in the first one Black Cat was weird too. So
well, it's just sort of like she was there and then gone, and it's like that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
I wish we got a little bit more context there, but you know.
Uh-huh.
But what I really
agree.
did enjoy was instead of sending Peter, we sent Miles to see this sort of different dynamic of like Miles and you know.
So on that dynamic of Miles with Black Cat, you know the Cindy Moon pheromone thing, right? Where Peter and Cindy Moon
makes them want to fuck.
They just constantly want to fuck.
Yeah. That'd be so good for Miles.
Miles,
the love triangle.
So he just gets a girlfriend, right? And he's like figuring that shit out.
That's juicy.
And then Cindy Moon comes and they're just fucking going at it.
That's juicy
stuff.
Like,
I don't understand why I have to do this. And like he's struggling.
His girlfriend didn't even hear it coming.
Got him. That's fucked. Yeah, no, I thought of that immediately, and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. That's such a good storyline.
Yeah, that'd be good little love triangle. And he's like, I can't control my dick, dude.
Yeah,
I can't. I don't know what it is. She goes around. I just want to fuck her, dude.
And Peter's like, bro, I know, fucking Black Cat for me.
No, Peter's like, I have this insatiable urge to have sex with this 14-year-old.
You. No, yeah. Peter's like,
because he's really also
fuck you, Miles. Yeah,
because he's also locked into the pheromones.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
That's fucked up. YouTube's gonna ban me for that one.
Who knows? I mean, he'll be 19 by the end of it. By the beginning of
Miles, but yeah, it seemed like Cindy was younger though, huh? She seemed younger. Hard to tell. It was just the back. It was hard.
It was the back of her head. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it might be interesting to see like a Miles in college storyline too.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty cool. Pretty tight. Yeah. My main thing that I really liked about the story, though, before we kind of start to wrap it up, I guess, is I felt like the theme overall was like redemption, and it was just this overall theme of like redemption, and it didn't hit you like over the head with it, but it was really cool to see like, look at these criminals, like kind of being reformed, you know. And look at, you know, Mr. Negative, you know, redeeming himself. Tombstone trying to redeem himself. I mean, hell, even Sandman trying to redeem himself.
But Sandman's always been trying to redeem himself.
Peter trying to redeem himself. You know, I felt like that was the overall like theme of the story, and I thought they nailed it.
100%.
I just really enjoyed seeing the villains portrayed more than just like, you know, just villains.
And just villains.
Although I guess Craven was just sort of a villain to be a villain, but he was the only one that felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like that. I really, and the side missions, I mean, I already said it before, but like the side missions felt like main content in and of themselves. Like, I mean, everyone's talking about the, you know, the pigeon mission, which great, phenomenal stuff.
Really?
I loved it.
I saw it coming from like a mile away though.
Oh, yeah, like, I know. Like as soon as the music started playing, I'm like, oh shit, this is sad. And the whole time I'm just thinking like, oh fuck. And then I get back and you're like, oh fuck. What's that?
That Miles didn't even tell Peter.
What?
That what's his face is dead.
Who's what's his face?
The pigeon guy.
That was the pigeon guy.
I know, but Miles didn't tell Peter that he died.
Oh, you played it as Miles.
Oh.
I played it as Peter.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, I guess that doesn't hit as hard if you played it as Miles.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I played it as Peter.
Wow. It does hit harder as Peter.
Because I was like, oh shit, man, we collected all these pigeons and now I'm taking them back. Like this shit's so sad. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You could play it.
Wow.
They should have forced you to play that as Peter.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have had way better Oh man, that sucks. I feel gypped.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel fucking gypped because that had no impact. It was like, okay, well, I guess Miles, this is Miles's thing.
Oh,
Just
that's so funny. That's so funny. I
yeah,
wonder how many like things like that we did where
that
you,
is
I
interesting.
played it as Peter, you played it as Miles, or whatever, vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah,
Y-
that's not something that I really would have thought about.
Yeah. Yeah, because they like force you to do certain activities as certain characters. Like
Hmm.
they force you to do the
Yeah,
Mysterio stuff as Miles,
as Miles, yeah,
and
which I
the
thought was kind of strange.
uh I guess they just had to do it for the story. Just as far as like you're there with your friends.
Yeah,
And that's why that happened.
I don't know.
And the DJ thing wouldn't make sense
No,
with
but I
Peter.
mean, like the first one as Miles would be, I could understand, but then I could see them doing like, oh yeah, Miles or Peter can do any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's such a hard thing to do, you know? That's such a hard thing to write for is multiple characters on the same storyline.
That's the other thing is I thought it was pretty impressive the fact that this did have multiple characters and it seemed pretty seamless.
Mm-hmm.
And also another reason why there's maybe less content because it's like you're kind of doubling your work
Yeah.
when you have multiple characters like that because you have to rewrite dialogue and also re-record all this dialogue, the same dialogue
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of the same instances.
Right.
So I thought that was really impressive as well.
Yeah, no, it is very much so.
And the other thing to take into account with like the game length being like short or shorter than the first one,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess it's like
Mm-hmm.
about the same length as the first one, is also just the simple fact that you move so much quicker and you fast travel so much quicker and there are no load times. Like that
Yeah.
cuts a substantial amount of game time out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but there wasn't any loading screens in the first one either.
there were definitely a few. Yeah. Especially when you fast travel. Like
When you fast travel, there was the train, but then in the PS5 version, they got rid of that completely.
mm,
But I really liked the train thing. I really liked, you know, it's like this is the fastest way to get around the city, even though I'm Spider-Man and I can just keep going. I don't want to. I'm
yeah.
just gonna hang out with the people on the train.
I
The
really
the
like
fast travel in this game was kind of cool, but it wasn't
yeah, you just
when you
started
guys are like,
diving.
you guys need to do it once, and I'm like, okay, and I did it. And I'm like, that's impressive, I guess, but it didn't do anything for me. I was like,
It's
oh,
pretty
that's
impressed by
cool.
it. I thought it was really cool. Just the fact that we're at this game. I remember years ago, I went to a retro video game shop, right?
Mhm.
And I was starting
Yeah.
to like kind of dabble in retro video games a little bit. And I was talking to the guy. This was probably like Xbox 360 days.
Mhm.
And I was like, so what's the best part of playing retro games? And he's like, just the immediacy of playing and just how quick everything is because it was all cartridges and stuff.
Yeah.
So it
Mhm.
was just so quick. And now we're kind of at a point with modern games where we're kind of in the same thing where granted we do have like day one patches and downloads and all that stuff, but like when you're
Yeah.
playing the game, like I swear like no games anymore have fucking load times. Like it's all pretty instantaneous.
Mhm.
Like I've been playing Alan Wake and like instead of like going to a menu you go to like a room in your mind as a detective to like put these things up on a shelf and it like immediately loads this room for you to do
Hmm.
this detective work in. And it's just like games are just at that point now where because of SSDs, it's really cool. It shows the power of the next gen, which is something I feel like
yeah.
we didn't really get with like Ragnarok. Because
No.
Ragnarok
Yeah.
was still a PS4 game. This one felt like fully like a PS5 game. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And Ragnarok was just too long. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Too long and like
Like-
boring. Like
Yeah.
at least with this one, like everything you do in this game, like there's a bunch of weird mini games, and when the pacing
Mhm.
starts to feel a little slow, they throw something weird at you. Where Ragnarok's like, here, we're gonna put you on a sled where I can just put the fucking controller down and the game will play itself. That shit's so boring and stupid. Not that I hate Ragnarok, but I didn't beat it.
That game fucking sucks, dude. Just kidding.
I think it did get too much praise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
I think people were just blinded by a really good story because I think the story's good, but yeah, I thought the first one was better, like by far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Immediately.
Yep. Well, Spider-Man 2. It's a game. It's a really good game. If you're listening, you probably played it already. If you're listening to this, I mean, the fuck.
Who wouldn't be?
Like, you just let us spoil the entire game. Like, what the fuck? It's stupid.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What are you doing here?
God, what the fuck, man?
Unsubscribe.
Fucking kill yourself.
Oh my god. In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, kill yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else to add, I guess?
Nope.
Cool.
There's nothing else.
You know what's wild? I want to add this, actually. How is it that Insomniac has somehow released 3 PS5 games before, like, any other fucking Sony studio?
I don't know.
How have they done that?
I don't fucking know, man. I don't know.
What's going on?
Factions, dude.
Yeah. I feel like Jim Ryan was like, hey, everyone make games as service games. And now every studio is like, oh, we're like 10 years behind now because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Insomniac is just like Spider-Man holding the train back, just like, we'll keep developing as many games until you guys catch up.
Yeah.
The rumor is Wolverine's coming out next year. And if that happens, Insomniac is just the craziest fucking dev team to ever exist ever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
I don't know how
100%.
Insomniac does it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
They've always been like that too, where they're like, they release a banger ass game and then they release another banger ass game.
Another banger ass game. Insomniac is turning into the Naughty Dog, I feel like, of Sony now, because Sony or Naughty Dog hasn't really put anything out or shown any effort in putting anything out. And Insomniac's like, we got this.
Yeah.
Like, take over. Like, they're just taking over the platform.
Well, and like Insomnia, Naughty Dog kind of like grew up and made more mature games. But back when they were like the guys, they were making the fun action game.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what Insomniac's doing now. They're making a fun action game. But I mean, Naughty Dog and Insomniac have always kind of been those studios, those intertwined sort of studios. I mean, even back in the Jak and Daxter days, they used the same engine. Ratchet and Clank used the Naughty Dog engine back in the days. So they've always kind of had this sort of symbiotic relationship, pun intended.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. Just weird.
Yeah.
I maybe the rest of the Sony studios like need to take notes from Insomniac, because what I think is happening at Insomniac is, because we always see this just happened at Remedy, where Remedy, when Alan Wake came out, they just like fired like half their staff, right? Because now they have too many staff there that aren't working on a game because Alan Wake is out. And when you're in the early development stages of a game, you don't need that many staff. And I feel like Insomniac has this flow where they're like, okay, so these guys who do the initial sort of process move on to do this next thing. Well, the rest of them kind of keep working on this. And then as soon as the initial stages are done here, this team is finished with Spider-Man. Now this team is moving to Wolverine. Initial team moves to like they have this. That's what I think. Yeah. Like they have this like really good process of like moving their teams around, and it works. It works for them really well.
Yeah, they do a good job.
And I feel like Naughty Dog had that for like 1 second, where they had from Uncharted 3, then they had The Last of Us, right? And then Uncharted 3 came out, and that team moved to The Last of Us, but also half of the other team moved to Uncharted 4. And then when Uncharted 4 finished, The Last of Us team went to finish Uncharted 4. And then we got these like every 2-year cycles with Naughty Dog. But then it just, it all just fell apart. Everything just fell apart. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It
is what it is.
Let me run PlayStation is what I'm saying.
There you go.
Obviously, I have the know-how.
Yeah, see? It's clear. It's clear as mud, everybody.
Yes. Anyway, Spider-Man, good game.
Great
Debatable
game.
for
Great
some.
game.
Undebatable
I like it.
for others.
I like it.
Yeah. Can't wait for Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine's good. By the way, I wanted to bring up the suits.
Oh, yeah. That was...
They said fucking 72 suits.
Uh-huh.
There's not that many fucking suits.
I think if you include the colors.
In the colors, yeah, that's not a fucking suit. That pissed me off. It's like 72 suits. Holy shit, that's a lot. There's not even the same number of suits. Like, I felt like there were more suits in the first game.
No shot.
For Peter than there were suits for Peter in this game.
Maybe that's true.
Because they had like the colors, and then so what was it? It was they had the classic suit, which you couldn't change, like the classic or the webbed suit from
Spider-Man 1.
Raimi's Spider-Man movie. And I'm like, that's cool. That was in the first one. Then they also have the black Raimi suit.
Oh, I wore that through the entire Venom section, by the way.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's not a color swap. So they're like, that's still the same fucking suit. It looks identical, except it's black and white.
I think the textures are a little different, but yeah.
But it's
I get
like
what you're saying.
There was a lot of that I found in it, and that was the main one that I saw. Was like, well, why didn't you put these together? Why didn't you put those together?
Yeah,
I feel
like you could have put the Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 together, maybe. They look so different. Yeah, I guess
they those look different, but it was like, it just didn't make sense to me how the suits were arranged, and I honestly kind of wish the colors weren't even in there.
I like the colors. I was fucking around with the colors a lot, especially with Miles. Some of the purple and green colors I thought were really fucking cool because they had like Prowler variants for a lot of them. I really dug that shit.
I didn't. I like to do the story as how it should be, how it should look, I guess. So I would switch between the first game's Peter Parker suit and this Peter Parker suit, and then the Venom suit. It would just be like any sort of black suit that looks evil. So like I did the Sam Raimi one, I did the Venom one on this, but like I didn't use any of the goofy ones like Spider-Man Noir. I didn't use his suit at all.
Yeah.
Although it looked really good.
I kind of feel you on that on a certain level, but for me, I can still immerse myself because Spider-Man, at least Peter Parker, has been Spider-Man for so long that I imagined he did have a bunch of different kinds of suits. So
yeah,
not like Noir, but like some of the other ones, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. I get what you're saying though. And same with Miles, like some of them are like kind of ridiculous for the first playthrough.
Yeah, like the bio, I had the DLC, so it added 4 more suits or something like that, or the deluxe edition, and it adds 4 more suits, and those 4 suits are like fucking out there, dude. And it's like, biomechanical suit where it's like metal and flesh, and it's like this. I would what? Like what?
His final suit was ass, dude.
I liked his final suit.
It was ass.
I didn't like his cowl. Like the fact that
you're just giving away your Miles Morales.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
It's like, well, yeah, he's black, but also it's the same fucking hairstyle.
It's the same haircut, which is like a very unique haircut and very identifiable. Like, what are you doing?
Yep. And that was one of those things that's just like, oh, he should wear a hood. If he's, like that makes more sense to me, but the whole hair that eliminates a lot of the guesswork.
Yeah,
for hiding your identity.
And then also like him coming out and be like, I had to make some of my own, bro. It's like, didn't you say that
in the first game?
At the end of the first game when you showed up in that new suit and you're like, Oh yeah, so Miles Morales
Miles
original.
Morales original, yeah,
It's
or
like,
something like
what
that.
the fuck?
And it's
What do you mean?
yeah, it was. I like the suit. I like the design. I didn't like the fact that it didn't make sense for him. Just in any way
So out
of
of
whatever
nowhere
he's
too.
doing.
It just felt like,
Yeah,
oh, we gave Peter this white suit, so we need to give Miles one.
yeah, yeah. And that kind of ruins it. That kind of ruins the changing of suits as well. Because like, if you're changing suits all the time, and then you get to that point where Peter's like, "Hey, new suit," you're like, "Dude, I've been fucking changing suits all the fucking time. Like, I am constantly in a different
So
thing
many
that you've
suits.
never seen before." And like that, yeah.
Well,
So
definitely when you get the Venom suit, it makes a lot of sense that that you'd be changing suits all the time, considering you could just like turn that shit into a tuxedo and stuff. Like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, now it makes sense that he has all these different weird suits.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Also, interestingly, like in the first one, each suit gave you different abilities.
That too. Yeah, where was that?
And I felt like they probably took that out just because they wanted to add a bunch more suits, and also just trying to balance that between Miles and Peter is probably pretty
Well,
tough.
and they give you abilities anyway too.
Yeah, and the abilities
So
are switching. There were also less gadgets in this game versus the first
I
one. I felt like
yeah,
that was
I didn't
intentional,
mind that.
just as far as like, let's get you familiar with these like 4 gadgets, and you can
Hmm.
upgrade them instead of
Yeah,
having like to swap. Because I will tell you, when I played the first one, I got like my first set of gadgets and I never fucking changed them.
never. Yeah. Hmm. Yep.
So I think that was,
I
they
I
probably saw
hardly
that.
used I hardly used gadgets in the first one actually.
Yeah, I used them a bunch
Um,
in this one though,
yeah,
like all
yeah,
the time.
especially with the nests.
Mm-hmm.
You have to with the nests.
Yeah, those nests were fun.
Because they were pretty good. They were too short. Everything about this game was too short.
I want to play it on the
Um,
hardest difficulty and see what that's like though.
this game was hard though.
Yeah, I
There
want
were
to.
a couple of like the symbiotes when all the people turn into symbiotes. Those kick my ass, man. The guys that dodge your attacks, or the big hefty guys that you can't hit unless you counter them. And the
Hmm.
countering was really cool. I really liked the countering mechanic.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
felt.
think they had that in the first one.
I even felt like the final Venom fight was like kind of hard.
Yeah, but that's another thing that I felt was lacking. All of the main fights you did on the ground in an arena, like it was so limited. Where like in the first game you had the Electro Vulture fight
Mm-hmm.
or the Shocker Vulture fight, and you're in the air the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that felt really good. And all of these ones were just like you're
But
on the ground and you're just countering.
but we had fights
Uh,
like that in this game,
you
like
had the Sandman
the
fight.
Sandman one and the Mysterio one.
Yeah, that and that. Yeah, yeah. I
So
just felt like everything was too short. I
yeah,
don't know. Just every
maybe we're too godly at video games, dude, and we
maybe
just too easy for us.
game for babies. That's my end review.
No, I'm waiting for that new game
Spider-Man 2
plus.
game for babies.
I'm waiting for the new game plus patch to come out, and maybe I'll play it again on the hardest difficulty on new game plus.
Yeah.
That might be fun. And the story is so short that I could probably plow through the story pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked it. It was good.
It's good. It was good.
There's definitely a debate to be had there, though, between the first and second game. I could see it. I just think traversal is just so much better than this one, but that's just
Yeah.
me.
That's just you, man.
And that's
It's not
just
even me.
a game theory.
All right.
All right. Let's fucking bye,
Let's
everybody.
fucking bye. Let's fucking roll.